All right, we are back on Morning Line. It's our final segment this morning with Charles Robert Bone. Nice to have him on along with Brenda Wynn. Thank you both for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Both transit for Nashville. Your thoughts and comments on that if you want to jump in and ask a question about where that plan's going and what they think of it, what you think of it. Let's go to Sandra. Hi, Sandra.
Yes.
Hey, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know if this question's already been asked because I just switched it to the Channel 5.
Sure, that's fine.
I'm a senior citizen on fixed income, and we do have a significant number of senior citizens living here in Nashville. I do drive, but I'm not working, so I don't have to deal with the heavy traffic, especially the traffic on the interstate. I do use the main roads, and even though, my driving distance is short, it's limited, there are certain sections in Nashville, especially the Nolensville Road area, leading from downtown. Usually I will cross Nolensville Road at Craighead in order to get to my neighborhood. There is a traffic light there, but then I have to turn left once I turn right on that traffic light to get to my neighborhood, and the traffic heading from...
Are you wondering though if the plan would benefit you? It sounds like you deal with some traffic, but you drive. What's your question?
I just want to know if it will have a definite positive impact for senior citizens, who...
Yeah, that's a fair question, and this is a woman who still is fairly independent driving, but I get the sense from her that if she could have an alternative that was safe, reliable, and not more expensive, she might just assume, say, to heck with the traffic, I'll take the transit.
In all likelihood, she could benefit from the plan based on her income. I mean, if her income was such that she was at a certain level, she could ride the system for free, and it would mean that she wouldn't have the stress of Nashville driving, because sometimes the stress of Nashville driving can be worse than just sitting in traffic.
Yeah, I think you guys have to convince folks like her of this in terms of the vote, only because you've got some seniors here who no longer necessarily, if they choose to stay home and aren't out as much, dealing with the traffic. And they may just say to themselves, an extra $5 a month in my taxes? No, I'm against it. I don't need this transit anyway. So you would say to those seniors, look, you could really benefit from this.
You're going to benefit in one way or the other. Either you're going to benefit because there's less congestion,
less traffic,
than if we didn't have it, less traffic, or if it's built out the way that Brenda and I expect that it will be, that could be another mode of transportation for her children, grandchildren, next generation.
Okay. All right, let's go next to Gina. Hi, Gina.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Good, good. What's on your mind?
Well, you were talking about, the traffic being all congested. Have you ever thought about taking the Music City Star? It just ran behind our house.
I would love to. I think it's awesome. It's awesome. It just doesn't fit my schedule, unfortunately, from Wilson County. I'm here so often too late, and I miss the last train or the others. Otherwise, if it was doable for me, I would take it every single day. Who wouldn't want to bypass the crap on I-40 coming in the morning? I can sit on that train, have a cup of coffee, look at the news on my phone, and then relaxing, get into town and go to work and go home. I would do that in a heartbeat. I would leave my car at home.
And for the people who
will allow you to do that, is that right?
Well, the plan would be, now for us living out in Wilson County, as you say, the other counties are going to have to find ways to attach to it, or you could park and ride maybe to the boundary of wherever Metro builds out to and go from there.
But the Music City Star is a perfect example for the people whose schedule that does align with, whether that's working or recreation at night. People swear by it, They love it. It's more efficient. It's reliable, and it gives them another option.
One time in my life, I was able to do that and enjoy this when I lived in San Francisco. Which, again, I don't compare San Francisco to Nashville, different geography and all of that. But being able to get up in the morning and go to work and just to the corner, hop on the Muni and go, and I just remember sitting there reading the paper, and having my coffee and getting there. All the traffic jam next to me, dedicated rail. It was great. When I lived there, and I've experienced it in D.C. and the elevated in Chicago, all of that. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
On my way down this morning, I came down First Avenue.
Yeah.
and the Music City Star had just arrived, and the number of people who got off
pouring out of it.
Is ridership going up on that, as to your knowledge? I mean, I know it's up and down, you know, but as the gas prices go up, more people ride it.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
But yeah, Music City Star, I would love it. If it fit my schedule, I would do it. I'd park my car in a heartbeat. Let's go to Marnie. Hi, Marnie.
Good morning. How are you this morning on this rainy day?
Oh, hanging in there. Hanging in there. What's on your mind?
Okay, I lived out in San Diego for almost 20 years. The best transportation system I ever saw in my life. Didn't own a car for almost 20 years, Nick. And I'll tell you why. I lived on a boat, okay?
You lucky dog.
I would row into shore. I would walk up and get the bus, then take the bus to downtown San Diego, get on the bus, or another bus, or a trolley, okay? And I was in the healthcare profession, so I went everywhere. I would go all the way up to Riverside, California, from San Diego on a train, okay?
Yeah.
And then get off the train and take a cab to the trailer where I took care of my elderly patients.
Good for you, man. You had it going. That's the way to do it.
But what I'm saying is, I didn't need a car for almost 20 years, Nick, because of the crosstown buses, the trolleys, the coaster, the trains. I just didn't need one.
She's right. And, you know, San Diego's the exception. Now, I lived in L.A., worked in L.A. before I came here. The El Toro Y is the busiest stretch of interstate in the country, bar none. I don't know if you've heard of the El Toro Y. I used to have to go through that. Some of what I see here begins to remind me of it. We're not LA yet, and they never did mass transit in LA. Right. But and you don't want to be like the El Toro Y. But go on. I mean, she parked her car.
She parked her car. She didn't have a car, and you know, I've in reading to kind of prepare for this. I read that the average family, which typically, you know, if there's, you know, 2 adults and 2 kids, you typically need 2 cars. But with a good mass transit system, the average family could save about $9,000 a year by having 1 vehicle and using mass transit.
Interesting.
And I think there's a generational mindset that we're on the cusp of benefiting from. I mean, you know, 30 years ago when I turned 16, I couldn't wait to get a car. I mean, I equated that with freedom. I've got 4 children of my own, one who's 16. I mean, we almost had to push her to get her driver's license, to push her to get a car, because we needed her help, with her siblings. Right. But there is a generational mindset that they don't equate a car with the same thing we did growing up.
You are so right. So you know what they love? Their phone.
Absolutely.
That's right. And if they can sit and ride and look at the phone, that's exactly.
I think the younger generation, I mean, more and more. I was stunned. Same way with my son. I was thrilled when I got my first car. He could care less, and we kind of had to push him that way. He did it, and now he enjoys the benefits of having his own car. But if he's going to be punished, taking the car away, big deal.
You're right.
Take the cell phone away, and you think he's going to die.
Absolutely.
And that's a new generation coming up. That's going to play into it. And I think you think that's positive for.
Absolutely. I think it's positive for transit, and you know, and I'm hoping that will play into the minds of parents. You know, understanding that our kids will be safer on a transit system than they would be.
But, and it plays in the mindset. Some of the same calls we've heard this morning who said, well, I wouldn't ride it, so how do I benefit from it, right? I mean, and I understand that completely. But at the same time, as we begin, this plan thinks 5 years out, 10 years out, 15 years out, 30 years out, and we're going to be in a position not only to take advantage of the changes in technology, but also to take advantage of that generational mindset where you have people who it's not going to be a big jump to say, leave my car or don't have a car and take mass transit.
Right. Let's go to Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hey, good luck to the transit proposal people. But you there?
Yeah, we sure are.
Okay. I just want to say, like I say, good luck to them. But have you ever watched the buses? You be somewhere on somebody's front porch or your front porch, and the buses go around and 5 times, and there's nobody on the buses.
Yeah, you know, that's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you have the latest statistics. I mean, and this is why this is important. He's exactly right. The latest statistics show that our bus system is only at 15% capacity. Of those people riding the bus, only 32% of those are what they would determine a choice rider, who are saying, I'm going to ride the bus instead of taking my car or another means of transportation. And again, 85% of the people walk to the bus. So what this does is makes it a system that's far more reliable, that's far more efficient, and that attracts more choice riders to the system. At the end of the day, if the only people who take mass transit are the people who have no other choice, this system will never work.
Yeah. Yep. You know, Michael, again, just to hit these, because some people have the visceral reaction to things like potholes. So the transit vote's coming up. Why can't we get potholes fixed? Mike's asking for a friend.
Yeah.
You want to just make that? Because there's some people saying, look, we're talking about $1 billion plan, and I got potholes. Come on now.
I agree with you.
So how would you let, because a lot of people are going to look at it that way. They say,
call Hub Nashville. And let me just tell you.
But is it a separate thing then? Or how do you frame that? Why should someone, when she is or he's saying there's potholes, vote for a transit plan to put a light rail in? You know, that's what I'm saying. Some people are going to, I think I understand, but how would you explain that to them?
Well, where I experienced the majority of the potholes, particularly this morning, are on the interstate.
Well, that's true. And that's
not a Nashville problem.
That has nothing to do with Nashville. Talk to TDOT.
But at the same time, not to deflect on that, I mean, this is the absolute worst time of the year, where you've had a spate of bad weather, a lot of rain on top of that, the salt, etc. They're in the process of those that Metro has control over.
Potholes are being fixed. There's just so many of them. There's the pothole patrol out there. So it's not as though you're not saying that passing the monies for the transit plan is going to leave potholes unfixed.
So we already have a budget within Public Works that takes care of potholes that they're aggressively fixing.
And if people are frustrated with that, it's just that they're not getting to them because there's so many.
And if you're riding mass transit, if there's a good mass transit system in place that we have supported, then my hitting a pothole will be kind of non-existent, because I'm going to be on the mass transit system.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, right. That's right.
It benefits you even that way.
Okay, we just have about a minute or so. Remind folks of the votes, and remind folks what they're going to see on the ballot. I don't know. Have we seen how it's going to be worded necessarily? What?
So I'll let you talk about the wording on that.
2 weeks ago, last night, the council approved what the language is. I think it's 280 words. It's complicated. All you have to know is for. It's either for or against.
And so we want you to be for.
We want you to be for. The vote starts on May 1.
Early voting
will start in
April 11th, I believe.
April 11th.
April 11th, early voting.
Early voting.
So it's here.
Yeah,
it's here.
I mean, it's upon us. And so the vote. And the for means, okay, the money has been approved and the plan moves forward. And against means the money is not, and the plan is, at least this one, dead.
Yeah, and you hear from
this is a big deal. This is not, there's some next step on this.
No,
meaning it may be brought up again down the road, but this is it now. This is no longer planning, talking, debating, voting in the council.
This is moving the plan forward.
It either lives or dies on this vote.
And one thing which you keep hearing the opponents say is, well, let's just vote no, and then we'll bring it back at the next election cycle. The fallacy in that is, this is a plan that had the input of 20,000 people on the front end that helped design this. And then it went through the preliminary engineering. It has to be approved by the comptroller's office. You have to do a new study, a new plan, etc. If we vote this down, as a practical standpoint, the earliest we could bring anything back would be another 2 years.
Yeah, that's my point. I just find it hard to believe that there's some part of this that has not been researched. Right. People can disagree over the conclusions, but I'm sorry. This has been vetted. Folks, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Enjoyed it very much. Follow this along. It's a pleasure.
We hope everyone will vote yes.
Be back with a programming note right after this. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Don't let abuse